Alright, what's going on YouTube? Happy holidays. I haven't done a video in a few weeks, alright, since before Christmas, okay? Busy seeing family, personal stuff, going on. I had a loss in the family, a relative. I had a bunch of stuff going on, a lot of work, okay? Very busy, meeting up with the family and enjoying my time. So I haven't had much time to really sit down and do videos, okay? So I just want to wish everybody a happy new year and happy holidays, okay? I have a lot I want to speak on in this video, okay? We're going into my 5th year of having my YouTube channel. I started my channel in 2013, around April, September. So I haven't got to 5 years yet, but most would consider me as a vet on here. I remember when I got on here, there were a lot of guys that were on here for years. But a lot of people consider me a vet. As I've been here for a long time now. Okay. For the people that's been leaving me emails about stock market, crypto, okay, I will be doing more videos on that stuff, okay? So be on the lookout. I'll try to do one today if I can. But I will do more videos speaking more about it. That was just pretty much. I think a lot of people don't. I'm into so many things, and for the guys that's been following me for a while, you know that I'm into certain other stuff. I've made videos on cars or movies, and I'm into a bunch of stuff. I'm into older hip hop. I'm into a lot of things. I like to fish. I'm very adventurous. You guys see I like to travel a lot. And this year I think I'm gonna make more videos just talking about everything. Whatever. There's so many topics that I felt like discussing on this channel. But I felt like I wanted to keep it strictly boxing, but there's times where I'm like, I should just make it videos about whatever it is I felt like talking about. There's so many times I just felt like doing it, but it is very time consuming, and I know most of my audience are boxing fans. But whenever I do make a video about whatever, there's people on here who's like, yo, Wave, I didn't know you was into that stuff. You should talk more on that. So, I'll try to do some more of that for this year. I'm going to do a lot less talk on the social racial aspect of things, okay? I don't think, even though I'm giving you my opinion on stuff, it's not really beneficial, and I see in the comments of my videos that it's not really helpful. When I post a video, regardless if you agree with me or not, and it's race related, it's just another opportunity for people to come to my channel, watch my video, go in the comments, and argue with each other and be even more racist to each other. I noticed that a lot of these people that come to my videos, they don't even watch boxing videos or anything like that. And I don't really want that kind of, following. Okay. So I'm gonna do less videos on that. I think the last 2 years I got caught up, and I've even said that I'm gonna stop doing that. But it's a new year, I got into it before when it was all the Wilder and Povetkin stuff. And this year it was a lot of stuff with Kovalev and Ward, a lot of stuff with Rigo and Lomachenko, the Anthony Joshua thing. I'm going to fall back from that stuff because it's not really helping anything, It's just giving more people the opportunity to come on here and be racist. It is what it is, So I'm going to fall back from that stuff. There's a lot of other channels that stick to just doing boxing. They just talk boxing. If it has anything to do with that kind of stuff, don't even talk about it. And I see why, because it's not really helpful, Now, on a one-on-one thing, I don't have a problem with talking this stuff. I talk about this stuff all the time, with people that I know personally. But here on the channel, it's just the social media thing. It's no good. It's no good. It's not healthy. Um, so let's get into my review. 2017 was a solid year in boxing. It was solid. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was a solid year. I think my favorite fight of the year was probably the same one everybody else likes, the Joshua and Klitschko fight. Not the best fight I've seen, but it was the most meaningful fight in my opinion. It was a very good fight. A lot of drama in it. Both fighters got knocked down. You know, Klitschko performed good. A lot better than he did against Fury. And Joshua performed good. He was knocked down. He came back and won. A lot of people say it was a heavyweight classic. I think, by today's standards, it was a heavyweight classic. A couple, maybe even a week ago, I was bored. I was watching some old heavyweight fights. I was watching who was I watching? I was watching Ken Norton against Larry Holmes. I was watching some random stuff on YouTube. You know, when I have some downtime, I always watch some older fights or whatever, just randomly. And people got to understand that at one point in boxing, great fights like that would happen regularly. You know, I think post Lennox Lewis, Tyson, Holyfield era, the division just kind of fell off, you know, and you had the Klitschko brothers who were really good, but everybody else were just okay-ish, you know, and, you know, a lot of people make the arguments, or have made the arguments over the years, that if the Klitschkos were in a different era, they wouldn't have been as good, you know, but I'm not starting all of this. I'm just saying that fight was a good fight. It was very entertaining. It was two top heavyweights. They got in the ring. They had a good fight. It wasn't no one. We've been getting so many fighters in the heavyweight division who were title holders or top fighters in the heavyweight division, and you knew it was so easy to predict these fights because you already knew who was getting knocked out every single fight, and that's what happened in every single fight. So that fight was a very good fight. It was very entertaining. I thought that was fight of the year to me. Fighter of the year to me is still too hard. It's a lot harder to call. I couldn't come up with a single person I thought was really fighter of the year. I thought the biggest win of the year was the Ward win against Kovalev because he stopped him. Ward is not really known to stop people. People argue that it was the low blows that did it. I personally think that Kovalev quit, and he led to quitting after the 5th round. You know, Kovalev did just look frustrated. He didn't look the same. A couple of those shots could have been low blows, but he was leaning over. Ward did land big shots that led to that knockout. And I thought that was the biggest win because Kovalev was a top 5 pound for pound. And you can argue that he still is. Okay? He's already come back and won a fight. Okay? He still got it, you know? So I think that was the biggest win of the year as far as 2 top 5 pound for pound fighters, okay? As far as everybody else, you had Terrence Crawford. He became undisputed. It's hard to call because he became undisputed, but as far as this year, are you fighter of the year for being Felix Diaz and Undongo? You can argue that he's not, you know? Same thing with Lomachenko. Are you fighter of the year because you beat Mariaga and Rigondeaux? You know? Some people look at it as a great win. It was a great win. There's other people that was expecting Rigo to get stopped. You know, I was surprised he quit, but I expected Rigo to lose that fight, all right? So it's hard to call. I think you could mention Jamel Charlo. You could mention Mikey Garcia. There's so many fighters, and all of them had good wins, but you can criticize each win. Like, okay, was it really that big of a win? What fighter had 2 huge wins, you know? I don't think any of them really did, you know? And none of them really beat top caliber, top 10, top 20 pound for pound-ish fighters. Maybe 1, but 2, nah, not really. All right, so it's tough, all right? There were a few upsets. You had Pacquiao losing the horn. Listen, it is what it is. You know, I scored it. I personally scored it. I saw it twice back then. I personally scored it 6-6. If you gave Pacquiao a 10-8 round because of that 9th round, I believe, where he destroyed Jeff Horn, then obviously you scored it for Pacquiao. Do I think it was a robbery? No, absolutely not. I'm not not a fight I scored 6-6. Was I surprised they gave it to Horn? Yes, absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, this is still Manny Pacquiao. But you know, it wasn't a robbery in my opinion. You know, it was an upset, but it wasn't a robbery. Right? There's a difference. And Miguel Cotto in his last fight losing Saddam Ali. You know, it is what it is. You know, it's not the biggest upset in the world. But I thought Cotto was going to win. You know, I think Saddam Ali is good, but I didn't think he would beat Cotto at 154, even though he is naturally bigger than Cotto. You know, Cotto's not a big fat guy at 154. And he's played it safe at 154. He didn't really fight the real wolves, the real true big guys at 154. He played it safe ever since he moved up to 140 from 147, in my opinion. He had a couple tough fights, but you know, the recent guys besides Canelo, you know, and Trout, he played it safe at 154, you know. And, you know, for him to go out in his last fight losing, hey, it is what it is. You know, it's time to go. It's time to go. You know, at some point I'll do a tribute video to him because he's one of my favorite fighters of all time. But, you know, it is what it is. He lost to Saddam Ali. I'm just upset that it was a championship fight. I don't think either one of them did anything to hold a WBO title. But that title has been getting passed around all over the place ever since Demetrius Andrade lost it, all right? Since he's been stripped. All right, so you had that. You had the Truax loss, or Truax win against James DeGale, which I think was upset of the year. Upset of the year. You know, I made a video recently. You know, James DeGale is on a decline, a major decline. Truax was supposed to be a comeback showcase fight for DeGale. Truax is a guy that's lost to guys at 160. Not really a top contender at 160. For him to go to 168, 168 and beat James DeGale, that was big. That was big. You know, that was major. You know, and DeGale hasn't looked impressive lately. So I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know if he needs to break. I don't know what is up. I don't know if he needs to change camps. But something needs to change with him. Roman Gonzalez, you know, I'm not surprised he lost. I'm not even surprised he got knocked out. Because while I was watching the fight, I'm like, this guy's going to get knocked out. Okay? Roman went up in weight. Very aggressive fighter. High volume puncher. But he went up there and he was fighting guys the same exact way. And you're fighting bigger guys, and you're fighting guys with bigger punches. You know, you go up there, this is not Valoria. These are guys that are bigger. They're good, and they're bigger, and they punch harder. They could take your punches. You know, you got a high KO ratio, but they could take your punches. So the high volume is not going to have that same effect. And we've seen in the last 3 or 4 fights that he's not having the same effect on these fighters, yet he did not make any adjustments. And going to the Rungsavai rematch, the Thai guy, you go into that rematch and you're fighting the same exact way. This guy is outboxing you, and he's punching you harder. You know, it's just ridiculous, you know. I feel bad for him, though. I feel bad because everybody has turned their back on him. You know, it wasn't too long ago, there was people with agendas that were sitting here saying that he was pound for pound #1 because they had an agenda. They didn't really like him. I thought he was a top 10 pound for pound. I didn't think he was #1. But it is what it is. You know, if you think he was #1, that's cool. Just stand by him. Stand by him when he loses. You know, and, you know, I mean, I expect that from HBO. I expect that for promoters. They're going to beef up and hype up their fighters. Whoever their fighter is, whoever they're in contract with, they're going to always go and run with that fighter. You know, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. But for the people that were sitting here saying that he was the best in the world, no, he hasn't. He hasn't looked like the best in the world for several fights now. You know, and he gets knocked out, and now he's not even mentioned, period, anymore, at all. you know. So I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. But, you know, he just needs to come back and he needs to realize that he needs to change it up. He needs to change it up, you know. Can't fight the same way. You know, you got to be a little bit more defensive. And he has the skills to do it. I mean, he's a good technical fighter. He just needs to change it up, you know. So moving on. World Super Series tournament. I love it. You know, I already expressed, I made a video. It's not finished in neither division, cruiserweight or super middleweight. But I love it. I think it's much better than judging who's the best fighter in the division by titles. Instead of doing it by titles, I'd rather do it by tournament. So I think Richard Schaefer was a great idea. I hope he can do it in some of the other divisions, like maybe heavyweight at 174 or 175 or 160. You know, 160 is crowded now. 154 has been crowded. 147 is crowded. 126 is crowded. You know, these are divisions that I would like to see it at. I don't expect all those top fighters in those divisions to do it because a lot of them are divas, and I don't expect them to jump in tournaments. But I like what he's doing, and hopefully he can try to get some of these other divisions involved, okay? But I like it. I love it, you know? So in 2018, I hope we get another division to join, you know? Right now it's just those higher divisions, but if he can work something out and get it done and get them to showcase it here in America on our televisions so we can watch it and more people can get into it instead of us having to watch it on YouTube and stuff, you know, that would be great too, you know, if they can work that out, all right? I noticed that a lot of the fighters in those tournaments are more Eastern fighters, okay? More the cruiserweights, more of the top guys at cruiserweight are Easterners. Same with 168 right now. So, you know, hopefully if it becomes a little bit more Americanized, maybe we can get more fighters over here. You know, maybe they can showcase it on television here, on our networks. You know, that would be pretty cool because it's a good tournament, especially at especially at cruiserweight. You know, I really like the cruiserweight division tournament. All right. So I mean, listen, for my expectations for the next year, for New Year, you know, like I said, the tournament. I think some of these divisions just need to clean it up and get it together and fight. The heavyweight division, enough is enough. I thought a couple years ago, the heavyweight division was on a come up, you know. But now that I look at it and look at, you know, with Klitschko retiring, with Fury, you know, pretty much retired, you know, and until he comes back, he's still retired. I know he's supposed to come back, but he was supposed to come back before. Fury, you know, he has to figure out what he wants to do. Joshua, listen, you gotta fight Wilder at some point. You gotta fight him at some point. Wilder, until you get that Joshua fight, you gotta fight someone that's good. Hopefully the Ortiz fight actually happens this time. Ortiz, stay clean. Povetkin, stay clean. You know, Pulev, what happened to you? You kind of got shook up, in my opinion, you know. I know he went out on injury, but, dude, we knew he didn't want the fight, you know. We didn't want the fight before, all right? These guys got to stop being so scary. These guys got to stop juicing, okay? And stop cherry picking, okay? Enough is enough, okay? I mean, these guys got to fight. I'm not even trying to blame anyone. I'm saying all of them at some point have done something that was some form of ducking of something in some way, okay? So I just think the heavyweight division got to get it together because you have the fighters there, and I don't think any of these fighters could beat everyone. I don't think any of them could, you know. But let's get the fights going because these guys got to start. You know, for them, for us to not even know who's really the best, it's annoying because it's like 3 or 4 fighters that are top fighters that never fought each other before, and that's so annoying. You know, you getting these ridiculous rematches and stuff like Wilder against a Burn rematch. That was ridiculous. It still hasn't proven anything And as far as his resume, Wilder doesn't have anything. It's ridiculous, to have that many fights. And then Joshua, it sounds like he doesn't want to fight him now. I mean, he's changed it up now, but I seen the Sky Sports interview. I didn't like that. Because he was never like that. He seemed to be always on point as far as fighting people. He switched it up now, So let's get it together, guys, Let's get it together. Hopefully Wilder really fights Ortiz. Hopefully he really does. Because I don't understand why I didn't fight what happened before. And I don't think it's Wilder's fault. But like I said, WBC, they're funny with their rankings. I said that before, and they went. They canceled the fight, and now it's back on. Why was it canceled? Was it really a big deal? I guess not. If the fight's still on, he's not suspended, right? I know he cheated before, but come on, we got to get it together in heavyweight division. Another thing, big fights, big names, they're cool. I'd never have a problem with big names. If guys like Khan and Adrian Broner fight, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with that. All right? Those are cool fights. Broner and Khan they've been using their name and their popularity to get fights, that we weren't expected. They didn't have no title on the line. They was just fights. Or some did, but, I liked Adrian Broner against Mikey Garcia. It came out of left field. I wasn't expecting it. And I was like, oh, shit, this is a good matchup. This proves a lot between the both of them. I love that fight. Even when Broner fought Sean Porter, it was just like out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that. But we got it. Khan fighting Canelo. I didn't like it because it was a title on the line. That's when I don't like it. But I like the mega fights. It's a business. I understand that money need to be made. Listen, if there's money in this fight, if people are going to pay for the pay-per-view to watch because of your name, it is what it is. I understand that. But there has to be some sort of balance. We can't have continuous fights where it's just safe fights, or name fights. Especially if you're holding a title. If you're not holding a title, do whatever you want. If Cotto wasn't holding a title, that WBO title, I wouldn't have cared for the Saddam Ali fight. But I cared, and I didn't like it because of the fact that this was a title fight. Thought it was a little unfair. So, these guys are going to do whatever they want. Big names. Listen, even Mayweather. Mayweather want to come back and do another thing with Conor. Whatever. Pacquiao. If you want to fight Conor, go ahead and fight him. You already proved what you got to do. Your legacy is already built. It's already there. You can do whatever you want. Just don't hold no title hostage. Let the title go and let the real dudes fight for the title. If you guys want to just fight based on names, then do that. You don't need the title. So that's how I feel on that. And then everything else are the obvious. With the sanctioning bodies, stuff like that. Sanctioning bodies. They've been a mess lately, man. The rankings, everything is fugazi. It's all fake. I don't even take these mandatory matchups. I think everything is calculated, in my opinion. I'm not really buying into it. I buy into the fighter themselves, and that's it. Listen, I know you have to fight against these mandatories and stuff, but I think it's very calculated, And I think at this point, some of the things we've been seeing, some of the fights that we've been having and excuses, they've been ridiculous, especially this past year. All right, we got to stop that, man. I think the sanctioning bodies, they got to stop protecting certain fighters, forcing mandatories at certain random times. If you got rules, stick to the rules, man. That's it. Stop moving pieces around without fighters actually having to do stuff. It's ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous now. Okay? All the dirty backdoor stuff. Hope we get less of that in this year. All right? That's it. For all the divisions, I hope they all just get it together. I brought up heavyweight because I feel like heavyweight is still the most important division. I think if heavyweights really got it together, it would be better for the sport overall if the heavyweight division was really good. Joshua is a superstar. and I think that's good. You know, I think he's a superstar. But we got to get more people involved. You know, he's not going to do it on his own. You know, everybody else just don't really seem to really have that same kind of movement like Joshua do. Joshua has the whole social media aspect into it. You know, he has a look. You know, he's from the UK. They support their fighters more. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I wish America we had someone like that. You know, we have Wilder. Wilder chooses to blame it on race reasons. I really don't agree with that. You know, I think there's a lot of guys here that are black that are showing more support and love to Joshua. There are. There are. A lot of these rappers, a lot of these actors, a lot of these, they're out there hanging out with him, having dinner with them. You know, they ain't really showing no love to Wilder. I don't think it has nothing to do with race. I don't want to make it about that because I'm not going to keep talking about that on here. I think it's more of a respect factor. You know, and people like what you can't change what people like, what they like. They like what they like. They ain't feeling you. They ain't feeling you. We need America, whether it's him or whoever, somebody needs to get that kind of support here in the heavyweight division. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I did write a list, but you know I hate looking through my phone or stuff while I'm actually doing. It was a lot of retirements this year. I do eventually want to do a video on Bradley and Klitschko and Ward and Marquez. Maybe I'll do one video and I'll talk about them all one by one. But it was a lot of retirements this year. But that's it, you know. That's it. All right. So let me know what you guys think. What are you looking forward to in 2018? What do you want changed in this year? Okay. What do you want more from my channel? Okay. Drop those comments. All right. I'm gonna be a little bit more open with the videos as far as other things, other topics. Okay. Because, you know, you guys usually like it when I do that. But let me know. I want to hear from you guys as far as, like, you know, what you guys want from the channel and what you guys want from the sport, you know? So I'll see you guys on the next one.